So imagine you wake up and realize your entire life might be a lie. That the people who raised you, your own parents, have never been your real mom and dad. That's what happened to Monica Susie Wolf when she discovered her mother had undergone a hysterectomy 20 years before she was born. And what she learns after changes her life forever. But before we get into the story, hi, my name is Hans. Today I'm enjoying a Beijing-style black bean noodles. In Chinese, it's called 家常面, but I think a lot of people don't know what it tastes like. It's my favorite noodles. No offense, Korean noodles, sorry, but yeah. And then on the side, we have 6 pork dumplings. And then you can't forget about, oh, and can you focus on my favorite VLT lemon tea drink? It's the best. So get your Pop-Tart, get your salt vinegar chips, and let's get straight into the story. Monica was born in Chicago on May 15, 1964 to 58-year-old Navy veteran Pablo Laballo and his 41-year-old wife, Burma Laballo. If you notice their old age, you'd be right because they're kind of at that older age where people don't really have kids. I mean, Burma is 41 years old. But like the rest of Monica's childhood, it was anything but ordinary. She and her parents moved around constantly, 28 times in just 15 years, drifting from state to state. And if you calculate that, that's basically moving every 6 months. Monica hated the fact that she never could settle down long enough to make a long-term friend. When she'd come home, she'd just see a bunch of boxes spread around. She immediately knew it was time to pack up and leave. But truthfully, she never questioned it. It was just how life was for her. But looking back, there really were warning signs. Like, she was never allowed to be in school pictures. Every school year, kids lined up. You remember those days where you had to line up and you made sure you looked as good as possible, but not for Monica. She was always kept home on picture day under the assumption, I guess, of, you could say, overprotective parents. She also never had her own social security number and instead used her father's for any paperwork she did, which is like extremely sus. And for my non-American viewers, every child born in the US automatically gets their own social security number. Anytime she asked questions about these things from her picture or from her social security number, the answer was always just to keep her safe. Things stayed like this until Monica turned 16, when she uncovered something that shattered everything she thought she knew. Her mom, Burma, went to the hospital after getting really sick, and the doctor requested Monica to get her medical records so they can check over her past history. Now, when Monica looked at these medical records for her sick mom, she discovered this shocking detail that Burma had undergone a hysterectomy in 1945. That's about 20 years before Monica was even born. That means it was impossible that Burma was her biological mother. So, like any of us would do, Monica stormed back to Burma and just directly asked, "Are you my actual mother?" You could imagine the tension and the crazy awkwardness that was in the room. At first, Burma angrily denied. She's like, "Are you freaking kidding me? I took care of you for this long, and you have the audacity to ask me that, you know, if I'm your real mother," right? And she was crying, and Monica was feeling a little bad for asking, but she stood super firm because she wanted to know, "Are you actually my real mother?" Eventually, after a lot of standing down her ground, her mother gave in, and she claimed that Monica was actually the daughter of a much older half-sister who had given her up as a baby. Now, not much is known about this half-sister other than the fact that she's 19 years older than Monica. And Monica never knew about this because at the time she was born, this half-sister had basically moved out of the house. And ever since she moved out, she never came back to visit, so Monica really didn't know anything about her. Monica was desperate to find the truth out, so she gets her half-sister's address from Burma and pays her a visit. But the next thing she learns opens up another can of worms, really just more questions than answers, because when Monica confronted her supposed long-lost sister, she was met with yet another disturbing revelation. She wasn't her mother either. And according to her half-sister, Monica had been sold as a baby, traded away for nothing more than a bus ticket to New York. Imagine your mom only thinks your life is really worth more than a bus ticket. Girl, that's $3. So, like any of us would react, this claim really sent Monica spiraling into a decades-long search for the truth. Who is my real mother? Who are these people that I've been living with for the past 16 years? She scoured like every possible record she could find. She was desperate, and eventually she uncovered this metal box in her childhood home that contained what should have been the key, her birth certificate. And I think this piece of information would have shown a lot of clarity. She uncovers it and she opens it up and she starts reading the lines. And she's so glad to find this because at last she finally knows where the hell she's from. But when she starts to read in the forms, it was actually just more bizarre. There was no hospital listed. There was no doctor. And the most bizarre thing was when she looked at the date this thing was filed, it was filed when Monica was already 7 years old. So in other words, was this filed after the fact she was born, or was this just made up? She hires a private investigator, and this guy goes digging everything, and he finds out the birth certificate was completely falsified. Yep, her mom and dad, well, her supposed mom and dad, paid a lawyer to make a fake birth certificate just so they could show, government that she was supposedly theirs. If Monica's entire life was a lie, then what are her parents hiding? And where did she come from? And why do they have her? Now, years go by, she turns 18, she goes to college, she turns 20, and she stops really talking to her parents, and she has this kind of hate relationship with them because every time she would ask her parents where she's from, more information, they would kind of just ignore her and hound her away. Now, it wasn't until years later, during a family gathering, that Monica finally got some new breakage into something new with her story. Monica walks into the family house, but before she reveals that she's at the house, she already hears this heated debate between Burma, between her half-sister, and between her dad too. For some reason, her half-sister was just super overwhelmed with emotions, and she just snapped. This half-sister turns to Burma, again, she's Monica's mom, and starts accusing her of hiding a stolen baby from the police. She even claimed that her parents had forced her to lie to investigators just so they could keep Monica in the family. And at that very moment, I think Monica just had this realization that it all suddenly made sense. The paranoia, the constant moving, the missing records, like of her birth certificate. She also remembered when she was a kid that she overheard her parents yelling these weird cryptic phrases like, "I can't believe I let you do it," or "She deserves to know the truth." It really just didn't make sense until this very moment when she realized, I was fucking stolen. And really the most haunting of all was this reference to a cardboard box hidden in a bar. And she just started to speculate that maybe she hadn't been sold for a bus ticket. Maybe she really was just stolen from someone else. And she really just may have been a kidnapped infant, like a missing child whose real family maybe never stopped searching for her. And of course, she just kept digging. This only added more fuel to the flame in the fire. But over the years, she couldn't get a solid lead on who exactly her real parents were. After that whole incident, like with the weird snapping thing with her stepsister and all that, her parents never budged again. And unfortunately, a few years later, I don't know exactly what date or what year it was, but her parents eventually passed away. Like her mom passed away, her dad passed away, and she was kind of just left with really no answers about anything anymore. She's been through every document possible, and now she's just, all Monica knows now is she probably was abducted as an infant, probably ripped away from her birth family, forced to live a life on the run, And she asked herself, I mean, and I would ask myself, was I truly sold or was I just discarded for a price? Is there another truth, waiting to be uncovered? To this day, I'm talking about 2025, Monica continues to search for the answers. She has looked through DNA databases, private investigators, even genetic genealogists. She's tried them all. There's been some progress tracing with her biological relatives, but nothing conclusive yet. Only some genetic relatives that have already passed away as well. And it's a quite broad spectrum, so she doesn't know. The full story really remains frustratingly out of reach. Her biggest hunch now is that she was probably stolen from Miami, Florida at the time she was born. If you guys want to dive into this real case, feel free to do the research and let me know if there's any more information about her. Okay guys, that's the end of this story. I wanted to tell you guys about it because I'm just surprised no one has been talking about it on YouTube. I'll catch you later on my next video. Bye.